Play something, boy, if you can. And if you impress me, I'll adopt you. The words cut through the ballroom like a whip. Heads turned. Glasses of champagne paused midair. 1,000 crystals on the chandeliers trembled in silence as every guest fixed their eyes on the spectacle at the grand piano. Daniel, only 10, stood frozen in his yellow cleaning gloves, the mop still clutched in his small hands. His gray shirt was wrinkled, his patched trousers hanging loose on his thin frame. Moments earlier, he had been wiping the marble tiles, invisible as always, until laughter yanked him into the center of the room. "Look at him," sneered Mr. Whitmore, a man with snow-white hair slicked back like polished silver. His voice dripped with cruel amusement as he leaned against the piano, his ivory cufflinks gleaming. The help wandered into the wrong world. Laughter rippled through the crowd of wealthy men and jeweled women. The boy's face flushed. He lowered his eyes, whispering, "I was just cleaning." Cleaning. Mrs. Montgomery, draped in royal blue satin, pressed her hand to her chest as if the word itself was a punchline. "During a gala? In those ridiculous gloves? Oh, sweetheart, you don't know anything, do you?" Her perfume stung his nose as she stepped closer, her smile sharp enough to wound. She tapped the gleaming piano with manicured nails, each clink echoing across the marble floor. "This beauty costs more than your family will see in 3 generations. It's for music, darling, not for little boys with mops." A woman in emerald silk chimed in. "Maybe he scrubs the keys like a washboard." The laughter thundered again, filling the air with cruelty. Daniel's hands curled into fists inside the rubber gloves. His ears burned. His throat ached with words he couldn't speak. "Come on," Mr. Whitmore goaded, raising his champagne flute. "Play us something. Or can you only polish floors?" The boy's chest tightened as he stared at the piano. He hadn't touched one in years. Not since his mother's studio closed, when lessons and laughter vanished into bills and eviction notices. She had once placed his small hands on ivory keys, teaching him that music had power. But no one here knew that. To them, he was dirt. Mrs. Montgomery tilted her head, mockery dancing in her eyes. "What's the matter, Daniel? Cack out your tongue. Maybe he can play a tune with the mop handle," a man in a brown tuxedo shouted, sending another wave of laughter crashing over him. Daniel blinked back the sting in his eyes. His body begged him to run, but his legs rooted to the marble. Humiliation burned in his chest, but behind it, something else stirred. A memory, a sound, a rhythm that once belonged to him. He lifted his gaze slowly, his small frame trembling under the chandelier's golden light. And then, without a word, he took a step toward the piano. "Tell you what," Mrs. Montgomery's voice rang sharp as crystal, her smile wicked under the chandeliers. "Let's make this interesting. If you can actually play this piano, Daniel, I'll adopt you myself." The words fell like a stone into the ballroom. Gasps broke the air, followed by shrieks of laughter. Some clapped as if she had delivered a flawless joke. Others leaned close to one another, whispering in mocking tones, pretending to debate whether such a bargain might be a blessing for a boy like him. Daniel's heart thudded in his chest. Adoption? As if he were a stray pup they could bet on. As if he didn't already have a mother who worked herself raw to keep him alive. His small chest ached with humiliation and anger, but the noise of their laughter drowned everything inside him. Mrs. Montgomery folded her arms across her satin bodice, her eyes gleaming like ice. "Well, what's it going to be, little cleaner? Show us. Or admit the only music you'll ever make is the squeak of a mop on marble." Every gaze pressed down on him. His eyes flicked between her smirk and the polished ivory keys. His hands shook inside the yellow gloves. The silence that followed was heavier than the laughter had been. She raised her brow, pressing him again. "Well, play, or admit what you are." Daniel's throat was dry. Slowly, he peeled the gloves off, shoving them deep into his apron pocket. Gasps and chuckles rippled through the crowd. "Look at him. He's serious," someone jeered. "This is going to be good," Mrs. Caldwell muttered from her emerald dress, her words dripping sarcasm. Daniel shut his eyes. The chandeliers, the laughter, the perfume, it all faded. He saw a small rented room, a second-hand piano, and his mother's gentle voice guiding his clumsy fingers. "Don't just strike the keys, Daniel. Feel them. Let them carry what you cannot say." His bare fingers hovered, trembling, then pressed down. A single note trembled through the air, fragile as glass. Laughter rippled, But his hands moved again, one note, then another. The sound joined, shaped, and grew into something delicate, mournful, alive. The laughter faltered. The room shifted. The boy's thin shoulders straightened, his back taller than before. The music poured out, not for Mrs. Montgomery, not for the crowd's amusement, but for his mother, the woman who once filled a tiny room with scales and hope, who sacrificed everything so he could learn. The melody climbed the walls, filled the golden hall, and bent the silence into something holy. The smirks faded. Glasses lowered. Even Mr. Whitmore, always ready with a cruel remark, said nothing. By the final chord, the room was still. Every jeweled guest, every polished shoe, every shimmering gown held in awe. Daniel's chest rose and fell, his fingers trembling above the keys. "Daniel!" The voice broke the silence. His head snapped up. At the back of the room stood his mother, her maid's uniform wrinkled from work, her eyes wide with dread. She rushed forward, pushing past stunned guests until she reached him. Her hands gripped his shoulders, trembling. "I told you to stay in the service quarters," she whispered urgently, her voice frantic. She looked around at the silent faces, then dropped her head toward Mrs. Montgomery. "I'm so sorry, madam. Forgive him, please forgive me. There was no one at home to watch him tonight. He wanted to help clean. I should have stopped him. Please, don't punish us." Daniel's chest tightened. She wasn't defending him. She was begging for mercy. For both of them. Mrs. Montgomery tilted her head, still shaken, her smirk faltering. She tried to speak, but a voice cut across the silence. "That wasn't luck," Mr. Whitmore said, his tone low but certain. "That was skill." Another guest, a woman with diamonds at her throat, nodded slowly. "Better than the musicians we've paid for these parties." Murmurs spread. The tide was turning. Mrs. Montgomery forced a laugh, brittle and hollow. "Well, maybe the boy has talent after all. But don't forget, I said if he could play, I'd adopt him. I don't take back my word." Gasps rippled. Daniel's mother went pale, her lips parting in horror. "No, please no." Her voice cracked. "He has a mother. He is my son. I only brought him because I couldn't leave him alone. I work here so I can feed him. He belongs with me." The crowd shifted uneasily. The arrogance that had fueled their laughter moments earlier now felt sharp, shameful. "Enough, Clara," said Mr. Hensley, his voice steady, cutting through the tension. "This isn't entertainment anymore. You mocked a child, and he silenced you with music. That's the end of it." Mrs. Montgomery, Clara, stiffened, her cheeks flushing with heat. She had meant to humiliate a boy. Instead, she had been shamed in front of everyone. She turned her face away, her jaw tight. Daniel clung to his mother's hand, his small body trembling. She brushed her hand through his hair, whispering, "You did nothing wrong. Nothing at all." And for the first time all night, he believed her. The crowd dispersed slowly, their chatter hushed, their laughter gone. Mother and son slipped back through the servant's door. His small fingers still tingled from the keys, the sound echoing in his chest. He had faced their cruelty and answered with beauty. He wasn't just the maid's boy anymore. He was Daniel, the child who made the ballroom listen. And for his mother, that was everything.